Hi. So I'm recording this week's Read Aloud because I couldn't find one that read you the whole story. So this week we are reading I Wonder Why Penguins Can't Fly. It's our first nonfiction book within Rooted in Reading. And so we are going to read this half of it today, and then the other half you will listen to tomorrow. It has a lot of content in it, all about the Arctic and the Arctic habitat. So I'm going to read a little bit and then I will show you the pictures. Where are the poles? The North Pole lies at the center of the Arctic Circle. At the North Pole, wherever you turn, you will be facing south. The South Pole is at the opposite end of the Earth, in the middle of the Antarctic Circle on the continent of Antarctica. Why is Antarctica the highest and lowest continent? The thick ice sheets make Antarctica the world's highest continent, with an above average height of 7,900 feet. That means above sea level. At 8,383 feet below sea level, the Bentley Subglacial Trench in West Antarctica is the lowest place on Earth that is not underwater. So that's how it's the highest and the lowest. Why are there 4 poles? Earth is a giant magnet, which is why a compass points to the North Pole. The geographic North and South poles are fixed points. But because Earth's magnetic field is always changing, the magnetic North and South poles move every day. How could North become South? Every so often, Earth's magnetic field reverses, so a compass that pointed north would then point south. This last occurred more than 780,000 years ago, and the scientists think that it is due to happen again. And so in this book, they're showing you that the North Pole is up here and the South Pole is down here. There are some artwork and some text features, which is what we will be learning in grammar this week. And so this text feature has to go with this picture, and it's called a caption. That's the text feature. And it says, at the poles, the sun rises and sets only once a year, so a day lasts for 12 months. Because Earth is tilted, one pole faces the sun for 6 months, while the other pole is dark, and then the opposite pole has 6 months of daylight. Can deserts be snowy? Very cold air cannot hold much water, so it rarely snows at the poles. Parts of the Arctic are as dry as the Sahara Desert, and Antarctica is the driest continent on Earth. In fact, it's the world's biggest desert. Were the poles always frozen? About 100 to 65 million years ago, the climate was warmer than it is today, and the polar ice caps did not exist. Forests reach as far as the South Pole and were home to dinosaurs such as Antarctopelta. How cold are the poles? In Antarctica in 1983, a temperature of negative 128.6 degrees Fahrenheit was recorded, cold enough to freeze the mercury in the thermometer. The winter temperatures at the North Pole average about negative 29 degrees Fahrenheit. That is 30 degrees Fahrenheit colder than a freezer. And that's just the average. So some is warmer, some is colder. Why is Antarctica colder than the Arctic? Antarctica is a continent surrounded by the sea, while the Arctic is in an ocean surrounded by land. Water stays warmer than land during the winter, so on average, Antarctica is about 35 degrees colder than the Arctic. And so this is a picture of a camel with a little caption right here. This is the dinosaur that used to live in Antarctica. Here are what the different poles look like. This is Antarctica, and this is the Arctic Ocean. And then there's a polar bear right there. How are icebergs formed? Icebergs are huge blocks of freshwater ice that break off from glaciers or from the ice shelf and flow out to sea. The largest known iceberg was bigger than the island of Jamaica, and the tallest was the height of a 55-story building. How thick is polar ice? Sea ice in the Arctic is about 10 feet thick during the winter. The thickest ice is found in the Bentley Subglacial Trench, the lowest point in Antarctica. There the ice measures up to 15,670 feet. That is almost 6 times the height of Burj Khalifa in Dubai. What is permafrost? Permafrost is ground that is frozen all year long. In 2007, a perfectly preserved baby mammoth thought to have died 10,000 years ago was unearthed from the permafrost in Siberia, Russia. And so that's what polar ice looks like. If you know anything about icebergs, about 1/4 of it is above water, and then 3/4 of it is actually below water. And then that is the baby mammoth that they found. And that is like some more polar ice. What lights up the sky? The polar wind carries electrically charged particles from the sun toward Earth. Some particles enter our atmosphere above the magnetic poles and collide with Earth's gases, creating a fantastic light show called the Northern or Southern Lights. What is diamond dust? When the air temperature is very low, water vapor in the atmosphere freezes to form tiny ice crystals. These catch the sun's light and sparkle like a sprinkling of diamonds in the sky. Which dogs are found at the poles? Sun dogs are bright flares that appear on either side of the sun when ice crystals in the sky reflect in the sunlight. Moon dogs are sometimes seen too when the moon is very bright. And so that is a picture of the northern lights. And then this is the dogs that they were talking about, the different, like what it looks like in the sun. Does anyone live in Antarctica? No one lives there permanently, but Antarctica is visited by about 4,000 scientists during the summer. Only about 1,000 stay to brave the cold, dark winter, though. Who first came to the poles? American explorers Frederick Cook and Robert Peary both claim to have reached the North Pole first. Cook in 1908 and Peary in 1909. Roald Amundsen led the first expedition to the South Pole, arriving in December 1911. Do people still build igloos? The word igloo means house in the Inuit language. So people in the Arctic do live in igloos, but igloos made of snow are now built only as temporary shelters during hunting trips. So those are what the first explorers looked like, leading the first expedition, and then building an igloo. Are there any polar plants? The poles are covered in ice all year long, but plants grow in less cold areas called the tundra. For a few weeks in the middle of the summer, the Arctic tundra is carpeted in color as plants that have spent the winter beneath the snow burst into bloom. How do plants survive the cold? Tundra plants huddle close to the ground in tight clumps and often have hairy leaves and stems to protect them from the cold. Cup-shaped flowers follow the sun as it moves across the sky. Which tree grows in the treeless tundra? The word tundra comes from a Finnish word meaning treeless plain, so you would not expect to find any trees there. Yet a type of willow only 8 inches tall has adapted to the cold, windy climate and provides food for caribou, musk oxen, Arctic hares, and lemmings. And so that's some of the plants. This is the Arctic willow. And then these are some of the animals and what it looks like in the tundra. How do animals survive the Arctic winter? In the winter, temperatures in the Arctic drop to -58 degrees Fahrenheit, so polar animals grow a thick winter layer coat to keep them warm. The Arctic fox even has fur on the bottom of its feet and uses its bushy tail as a blanket. Why aren't polar bears white? If you plucked a few hairs from a polar bear, you would find that they are colorless. Like snow and ice, the hairs are translucent. Light passes through them, so to us, they look white. Which creature changes color? Arctic wolves, foxes, and ermines turn white in the winter so they can creep up on their prey without being seen. Arctic hares and collared lemmings grow white fur too, so predators find them difficult to spot in the snow. So that's an Arctic fox and a polar bear. Which animal bullies bigger creatures? The wolverine is a fast and fierce hunter, armed with strong jaws and sharp claws. Arctic hares, squirrels, and birds are easy prey, but this dog-sized predator also steals kills from bears and cougars, and sometimes attacks much larger animals such as the caribou. How do musk oxen protect their young? Adult musk oxen have sharp horns that can kill or injure the Arctic wolves that prey on the herd. When predators are nearby, the adults form a circle around the young, creating a spiky barricade with their horns. So this is a picture, this is a picture of a wolverine stealing its food from the grizzly bear. And then this is a picture of the musk oxen that are protecting their young from those Arctic wolves. Find out more tomorrow. Have a great day.